You're from the UK. That is a statement, not a question. But if we add aren't you to the end of it, it becomes a question. Aren't you is a question tag. Question tags are a great tool for having natural English conversations. However, they can seem a bit complicated. So today, I'm going to help you understand what they are, when we use them, how we use them, and how to reply when someone asks you a question with one. But first, just a quick warning, this video is going to have a lot of information. A question tag is something that we add to the end of a statement to turn the statement into a question. And before we talk about how to use them, let's talk about why we use them. Usually, we use them because we think that something is true, but we want to check with the other person to make sure that it really is true. So, you're from the UK, aren't you? Means you're from the UK, right? Or, I think you are from the UK. Please let me know if that is correct. When we use them this way, question tags are a very good tool for starting conversations and building relationships with people. This is because they are a friendly and informal way to show the other person that you remember something about them. One very important thing to notice is that when we believe the information is correct, the tag is going to have a falling intonation. If you don't fully understand what that means, don't worry, we'll come back to it in one moment. So we usually use question tags when we think that something is true, but we want the other person to confirm. However, we also sometimes use question tags to show surprise, confusion, shock, or even anger. Maybe you thought that something was true, but now you're confused because it seems like maybe it isn't true. If you think that I am from the UK, but then you hear me talking about life in the US, you might say, "What? You're from the UK, aren't you?" When we say it like that, it basically means I'm confused because I thought you were from the UK. And when we use question tags this way, they usually have a rising intonation. You're from the UK, aren't you? You're from the UK, aren't you? And we can also use question tags to show that we now understand or remember something that we didn't understand before. For example, if someone has forgotten that I am from the US, but then I say something about Barack Obama, they might say, "Oh yeah, you're from the US, aren't you?" So you can see here how our intonation, the way that our voice goes up and down, can change the meaning of a question, even when we use the exact same words. Now, how to make question tags. Again, we have two parts. We have a statement and a tag. The statement is what we think. The tag is just what we add to make it a question. If the statement is positive, the tag will be negative. You're from the UK, aren't you? If the statement is negative, the tag will be positive. You aren't from the UK, are you? Often there will be a helping verb, such as have, be, can, will, etc. And because we use question tags in informal conversation, we will often use contractions. Isn't, won't, can't, haven't, etc. You can understand English, can't you? You've been here before, haven't you? You're going to help me, aren't you? If you want to separate the contractions, you can, but it's not common. For example, can't you will become can you not, and haven't you will become have you not. But again, doing that is not very common. The main thing that I want you to remember right now is that if the statement is positive, the tag needs to be negative. And if the statement is negative, the tag needs to be positive. If the first part has is, the second part needs to have isn't. If the first part has haven't, the second part needs to have. And sometimes we don't have a helping verb in the statement. This happens when we have a verb in present simple or past simple. So without the helping verb, how do we make the tag? Well, we use do. Here are two examples in present simple. You study English, don't you? She lives here, doesn't she? And here are two examples in past simple. You saw him yesterday, didn't you? I told you that before, didn't I? And finally, how to answer questions that use question tags. A lot of people have difficulty with this, but it's actually really simple. For example, if someone says, you live in New York, don't you? They start to think, okay, don't you? Don't is negative. So if I say yes, that means... What does that mean? Don't do that. Just listen to the statement and then tell them what is true. If you live in New York, you can just say, yes, I do. Yes, I do means that you live in New York. If you don't live in New York, you can just say, no, I don't. That means that you don't live in New York. Even if the statement is switched from positive to negative, you still answer the same way. So if someone says, you don't live in New York, do you? Yes, I do still means the same thing. It means I live in New York. And no, I don't still means that you don't live in New York. So yes does not mean yes, you are correct. It means yes, I do. And no does not mean you are wrong. No just means no, I don't. So your yes-no answer is not telling the other person whether or not they are correct. It is just telling them whether or not you do that thing. Here are some examples to make that easier to understand. My name is Mike. I'm from the US. If someone said, your name is Mike, isn't it? I would say, yes, it is, because my name is Mike. And if someone said, your name isn't Mike, is it? I would still say, yes, it is, because my name is Mike. If someone said, you're from the US, aren't you? I would say, yes, I am, because I am from the US. And if they said, you aren't from the US, are you? I would still say, yes, I am, because I am from the US. So again, you're not telling them whether they are right or wrong. You are just telling them what is true. And I know that this is already a lot of information, but I just want to add one more thing that is really important. Replying with yes, no answers is correct, but it's not usually the best way to have a good conversation. Imagine that you say to someone, you like painting, don't you? Because you think that you remember this about them, and you want to show them that you like them. How would you feel if they replied, no, I don't, and then they just stopped talking? You would probably get the idea that they don't like you or don't want to talk to you. So if the answer is no, it's usually better to make it a bit softer. And we often do this by using the word actually, and then giving them the correct information. If someone said, Teacher Mike, you're from the UK, aren't you? I would probably reply with something like, actually, I'm from the US, but I have a lot of friends in the UK. That's a much better way to reply to someone who is just trying to be friendly and start a conversation with you. So yeah, that's all for today, and I know that that was a lot of information, so you might want to go back and review it once or twice. As always, please feel free to let me know if you have any questions. Thank you for watching.